I'm Richard. Hi, nice to meet you. Happy to be here with you guys. I'm one of the producers on Cyberpunk. I'm currently working close with the level design team and the 3D assets team. And when it comes to producers, many different companies, co-producers, people, but they might be ending up doing other things. At Cyberpunk, a producer is essentially working very closely with the lead of the given team, and he is basically making sure to create an environment, a working environment in which the artists, the developers can in 100% focus on their daily duties on their work.
Could you please wrap up the story of the Cyberpunk? What is it going on in the Night City?
In our game?
Yeah.
I'm not able to do that. We're not talking about the story yet at all. We are playing V, which is a human mercenary. We are doing jobs that nobody else would do. Night City, the cyberpunk world, is a world in which mega corporations are ruling it. The middle class is nearly not existent anymore. You are either one of the guys in the big skyscrapers in a fancy apartment, or you are trying to survive on your own, or you are a cyberpunk who essentially fights against the system and augments himself in order to survive in this very rough environment.
So basically we are playing as some sort of misfits in the cyberpunk world.
I wouldn't call it misfits, I would call them rebels.
Rebels, I will go back to the 5-year-old trailer you showed us a long time ago, because how was the concept changed? Because when I first saw the trailer 5 years ago, we had some sort of feeling that we are going to end up as some sort of police. Yeah, something like that.
So you see, with the trailer 5 years back and the trailer today, you have to remember about one thing. In the new trailer, we are showing many different scenes in the city in order to show the whole environment, the different people. And we should treat this first trailer as one of those scenes, because essentially it was one scene. And obviously the concept was evolving. The art was slightly evolving as well, but it's not like it's completely detached from what we've seen 5 years ago.
And don't you think you showed the trailer way too early? Because after that we were waiting in silence for 5 years afterwards.
So the thing that happened there was that we were heavily working on The Witcher 3. Witcher 3 was the first multi-platform title for the studio, a first real open world experience. And at one point we decided to move the Cyberpunk team, most of them, somebody was always working on the project, a small dedicated team, but most of the team we moved to The Witcher in order to ensure that we will deliver the game that we planned for. And this is essentially what happened.
Yeah, right. How many people are now working on Cyberpunk as it is?
I get asked this question a lot, and I always answer the same way. And I actually don't know the exact number. I think it's around 300, 350 in Warsaw and in Krakow, right? So both of them together around this number.
It's quite a lot.
It's a bit. It's the right amount of people to create the game we want to do.
Yeah, at least the game we want. So, Alright, let's talk about the new trailer you showed us at E3, because there were some surprises, at least for me. When I first saw the trailer 5 years ago, I had some sort of feeling that it's gonna be a dark cyberpunk experience, and afterwards what I received was quite a bright city for me. For a lot of people it came to the surprise.
Yeah, we wanted to surprise, and we understand that people might feel that Cyberpunk is only dark, gritty and rain, but we are doing an open world game in a city with an with a day and night cycle. So obviously the city will have to be playable at the day as well. We have to ensure that the visual experience will be cool and stylish as well. That's why we decided to make a trailer where we are showing off those scenes in bright daylight. And besides, it's not like in a trailer we don't have, some darker scenes as well. It's a pure mix. I think it's more about the fact that people actually got surprised and somewhat started to fear that we are not making the game they wanted to, but actually we are making the game they wanted us to make. On top of that, we're putting the same game, but in day, because this is how open world RPGs are working nowadays.
Right. Yeah, if we are talking about the Night City, which is the main setting of the game.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't. Are we going to go outside of the Night City?
It's too soon to talk about.
Yeah. So I guess it's big enough to play.
The city is big enough. That's actually a very good word. Enough. It's big. I mean, it's what we are aiming to do with Night City is to create a realistic global metropolis. In order to make cities feel realistic, they have to be big enough, right?
And in comparison with Witcher 3, how big is it?
It's very hard to judge because those two games are very different, and that's actually the best word to describe it. It's different. In Witcher you had, the forest, the meadows, like very long and big horizontal spaces. In Cyberpunk we have verticality as well. You could have a skyscraper with a footprint of 100 square meters, but you never know how many floors they are to explore, right? So people will have a hard time to, find everything in the game. It will take a lot of time.
Yeah. And do you have approximate idea how long is it going to take to beat the game?
It's too soon to tell, but think nothing less than The Witcher.
So you're aiming for 100 hours?
It's not like we are aiming for a certain amount of hours. We are operating more on content and content density. As I said, it's hard to put a specific number on how long the game will be right now.
All right. I will go back to some info from E3, for example, because there were some criticism to the game that it's going to be FPS. Or FPS. It's going to be a first
perspective or role-playing game.
Yeah. So why have you decided to take that path?
What we are doing at CD Projekt Red is we want to tell immersive stories, like nature stories that make the players think, that cause them to pay attention and that they get deep into the world. In order to achieve that, we decided from a narrative perspective that it would be beneficial for us to switch to the FPP camera view because it supports a lot of things. It supports the details which we see in the city. It supports our new dialogue system, which actually gives you the control, to swipe around, to interact with items or to mention things, clothes, tattoos, scars, whatever, on NPCs. And besides of that, obviously, we want to make a fun and enjoyable gameplay experience as well. We have guns in the game because this is how Cyberpunk is. We have rifles, etc. And FP view suits all of those needs the best, and that's why we decided to switch to it.
And speaking of that, what was so far, what was the biggest obstacle during the development so far? So, if you should choose one,
from my perspective, I think that being very close to the level design team, when it comes to level design between The Witcher and Cyberpunk, it's very different, right? Because in one hand, in The Witcher we have Geralt fighting with a sword. We have, as I said, much horizontality, not many verticality. In Cyberpunk, and we have, I mentioned the 3D camera. And in Cyberpunk, where you actually have the control over what exact character you're playing, you can augment yourself in different ways. You can be a cyber ninja, you can Terminator or a netrunner, essentially, a hacker. And we have to provide an opportunity for the player to finish the game with each given playstyle. And this caused that we had to adapt to it. We had to start building locations in a fashion which will suit all of those playstyles, as well as make them visually indicate that you can do this or that there. And that certainly was a challenge in the beginning, but you saw it in the demo. We figured our things out for now, and we are good.
Is it possible to beat the game without killing anyone? Because it was a thing in a similar game, like in Deus Ex.
It was a thing, yes. Like the non-lethal option is a double-edged sword. On one hand, you have the opportunity to not kill anybody and finish the game and be happy about it, feel good. But it puts a very big design constriction on us. And what we are doing, as I said, we are telling a story, our story. We want to have the freedom in developing such a story we would like to. If we would have to incorporate a non-lethal path into the story, it would very heavily influence the story, and this is not what we wanted to do. And besides, Night City is Night City. It's a very violent environment. In some situations, you will be forced to use violence because it's just how the world operates. It's dangerous out there.
Did you have some inspiration in other like culture products or movies or?
We are obviously watching, playing, reading Cyberpunk related articles. Not only we're gamers, we are movie watchers, we are readers, we are nerds. So there's a lot of things that we are doing. And all of those things somewhat obviously influence of who we are, what we like, how our tastes develop. But what we are doing with Cyberpunk is we are creating our own version of it, like based on the core that Mike Pondsmith created in 2020. I mean, in Cyberpunk 2020.
Yeah.
And we want to present this vision to the community, and we hope that they will like it.
If you should choose one thing that would be the selling point of the Cyberpunk, what would that be?
I would say that the play. If it would have to be a keyword, I would say freedom. We want to provide the player with control, with the possibility of do things in his own way. In The Witcher, we had a very strongly built character already in Geralt because he was in the books. You had a certain personality. In Cyberpunk, you're creating your own character, your own V. You're able to customize him, like from the visuals. You can buy him the clothes you want. You can augment yourself in the fashion you would like to play in different ways, talk in different ways, and we just hope that each single player who will play Cyberpunk will have the opportunity to really define and bond with the character he created in the beginning of the game, and he will play for the rest of it.
Speaking of Cyberpunk as a brand or as a trademark, was it hard to acquire that, or how was it born? Like the idea that you're gonna make a Cyberpunk game.
I wasn't present back there, so as far as I know, it was like that we were looking for other opportunities, and together with Mike Pondsmith, we reached the conclusion that Cyberpunk suits us very well when it comes to our storytelling needs. It's a broad universe in which you can tell immersive adult stories. And on the other hand, Mike knew that he was a fan of our games. He knew that he hoped back then that we will do it right. And as far as what he says right now he knows that we are doing how he always imagined Cyberpunk to be.
But most of the work will be pretty much on you, like from the designing perspective or something like that. Because
we are basing on the core from 2020. We are making our own version of it, and Mike Pondsmith is involved in the design process as well. So we are showing him like bigger chunks of the game, and from what he tells us, he likes what he sees, and like he says, like this is the Night City I always imagined in my head.
How far is development in the way, like in the percentage?
It's too soon. We are not talking about this right now. It's hard to put a number.
Yeah.
We are in full production. We know what we want to achieve. We know what we want to do, the story we want to tell, and that's it.
Is it going to be launched on this generation consoles as well?
We are currently developing the game for PC, PS4, and Xbox.
So you are still like And what about the next generation of consoles? Is it
When the next generation of console appears, then we will think what we are going to do with them. Currently, 100% focuses on the mentioned platforms.
are you planning some multiplayer components to the game?
We are R&Ding. We are actually looking if there is an option for multiplayer that will suit the game. We don't know yet. If we will find something that will suit it, then we will go with it. But it's not this moment yet.
Alright. I know you won't tell me anyway, but when is it coming out?
When it's ready.
When it's ready.
I know it's cheesy at this point, but we are not talking about the release date just yet.
Alright, I guess that was pretty much all for now.
Alright, perfect.